quantity of trees. Yeah, exactly. It's that simple. Okay, you just plant more trees. Okay, yeah, but when you're thinking about planting more trees, okay, what kind of terminology you can also think of? Yeah. So now we are trying to wait. Come on. Low. Well, could be more efficient, but when you are thinking about like planting more trees, having more natural resources, okay, yeah, and when you go back to what we have learned so far, there is one terminology that is related to this. Well, I'm just going to give you some hint. Okay, here, look at this. Let's try to fill in the blank. What do you think? No, no, something else. Yeah, we did talk about that. Okay, like you know, but we didn't talk about that in detail. It's just very that was a very quick discussion. Okay, let me give you something more, something more. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So you see here, you see you see the conflict here, or you can see the arguments here, right? Based on what we have learned. Okay, based on what we have learned so far, when we learn about economic growth. Okay. Yeah. Think about the disadvantages of economic growth. Yeah. Think about this. In general, yeah, we use more resources, and at the end, we exploited, of them, and that's not good for the environment. Blah blah blah. Okay, pollution. Blah blah blah. Right? Okay, but look at this. That's how we can see an argument here. Okay, when we look at a long-term economic growth, it doesn't always have to be, you know, the concepts that we used to know. Okay, there could be some sustainability here. Okay, even when we are trying to make economic growth. All right. Okay. Yeah. So don't be rigid when you are studying this subject here. Okay, because it's never rigid. It's very flexible. Okay, you cannot memorize things in order to, you know, get a good grade in this subject here. All right. Yeah. So quantity of tree. Yeah. There you go. Planting more trees. What about the quality of trees? So how do you? Okay. Wait. More. Okay. So make it more direct. Okay. Yeah. So when yeah. I know what you're trying to say. If there's more training, more education, yeah, there should be some ways that you can improve the quality of trees, yeah, right. But more directly, like what kind of things that we can do? Yeah, fertilizer, yeah, right. Soil quality, okay, there you go. But at the end, they are connected. So I wouldn't say, Krieger, you are incorrect. But you have to incorporate your answer with you know some other answers below, okay, in the chat. So that will give you a very nice, complete answer, okay, for that. All right, yeah. So that's good. So there we go. Okay, so this is how we can increase the quantity and quality of labor and land in order to make economic growth in the long term. All right. So very quickly, the last one. So how do we increase the quantity of computers in our society? How do we do that? Well, I think I'm just gonna give you that one. Well, uh, well, I would say this answer should be more appropriate for quality, but indirectly it will help people produce more computers. I would say, okay, yeah, but yeah, so don't make it too complicated. Okay, don't make it too complicated. All right. Yeah, as long as people they make more capital, then there will be a quantity, increasing quantity of computer. Okay, so that's all. Okay. Yeah, when you talk about quality of computers, of course, R&D, right? Innovation. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so as long as you are able to do all those things, then you are going to expect your economy is going to grow. Okay, in the long run. So PPC is going to shift to the right. Okay, if you reverse all the situations here, then you will expect a PPC will shift to the left. Okay, all right, yeah, okay, right. So what about the very last question we have here? So what causes actual growth? So actual growth, yeah, when the point in your PPC is actually moving. But how do we make it move? What is the most essential factor that will cause that point to move? What is it? Yeah, so so if you are expecting a point is moving, more to the right, so there should be more output. So there should be more actual output, right? But how do we create more actual output? Well, use more resources. Yeah, because right now we are talking about the actual growth. Okay, all right. Yeah. Better quality of labor, I would say, is more like a shift of the PPC curve. Okay, so is increasing the production possibilities, but you will never know if that will cause an actual growth in the output. Okay, all right. Yeah. So if you go back to the Lion Mountain example that we had, then you should be able to understand that. Okay, so yeah, so when we are able to use more resources, then there should be actual growth. Okay, and what makes us to use more resources? Of course, the aggregate demand. Okay, yeah, the total demand in our economy. If there's more demand in our economy, obviously we need to produce more to satisfy people's needs. Okay, so that's why you will see an actual growth. All right. Okay, so AD is something very essential for the point to move around. Okay, all right, yeah, in your PPC. So this recap is basically mainly focused on just PPC. Okay, all right, yeah, okay. So if you have any questions that you don't understand, you can always ask me questions here, or you can send me emails. Don't worry about this. Okay, yeah, yeah, all right, okay, yeah. So now look, just going to show you a video. Okay, well, I'm going to show you a video about circular flow of income model. Okay, because I want to show you that economics can be very scientific as well. Okay, so I want you to look at this machine here. Okay, so spend some time and look at like watch the video here. Okay.
This is the only operational moniac in the Southern Hemisphere that we're aware of. What Bill Phillips did was so creative, lateral, and off the wall.
It's one of the first macroeconomic computers. It was built in the 1940s.
It is a computer. It's hydromechanical.
It's a model of the macroeconomy, so the economy as a whole.
Bill Phillips created one of the most extraordinary economic tools that was created in the mid-20th century.
So this machine here is going to show how water flows around the economy, or how money flows around the economy. We have this income tank down here, and this is water flowing up into the machine as income. Before the income reaches households, some of it is taxed, and for the government, this is income. So taxes flow down here as income to the government, then the government decides how much it would like to spend.
People who saw it could scarcely believe the achievement that here was this tremendous machine that laid out so simply and clearly all of the concepts and ideas of economics.
If the government does not spend all its revenue, then it'll have a surplus, and this is what this box here measures. The income that is after taxes, this is where it reaches the households, and the households have a choice to make. They have to choose between how much they'd like to save, and then what they don't save, they consume. How much a household saves will depend on the level of interest rate in the economy. When there's only a little bit of money in the economy, like there is now, there's very little water in here. This means interest rates are very high.
Principal purpose of the Moniac was as a teaching tool.
In this investment fund here, which helps determine the level of interest rates, this will also determine how much investment firms undertake. So if we add these three components here up, this is our domestic part of the economy. So we've got government spending, plus consumption, plus investment. And this adds up to domestic expenditure, so the way all this water flows around.
It was possible, for example, for somebody like Phillips to have one operating in front of a class.
What we're going to do now is we're going to do a scenario involving the central bank. The level of GDP down here is very high, so the economy is running a bit hot. So what we're going to do now is we're going to drain money from the investment fund. So this is tightening monetary policy.
The Moniac really pioneered the field of economic forecasting.
So when there's less money in this investment fund, so we're going to see the level drop, which is just like seeing interest rates rise. So money's now more scarce. So what you can see on this chart here is the interest rate is increasing, and it's increasing rapidly.
As time went on, the advent of digital computers made it possible to have mathematical models that were vastly more complex than the Moniac.
These slides here show how households and firms react to changes in the interest rate. So this bottom bit here, shows how much do firms cut their investment when interest rates increase. This one up here shows how much do households stop consuming when interest rates increase. Down here, we will be importing a little less because our incomes are lower. Over on this chart over here, this is GDP. There hasn't been much of an effect, but this is something we would expect to see. The flows go around the economy and it continues having an impact for some time. So this means it takes time before monetary policy has an impact on the economy, which is what we see in the real world.
Okay, have you finished watching the video? Yeah, so what do you think about the video? Any comments? Which is cool. I mean, so you can see. Look, you can actually collaborate economics with mechanical engineering. Well, yeah, well, could be, yeah, but yeah, it's such a smart idea to study, circular flow of income model, right? Because when we are trying to manipulate the water in that machine, so we will see different effects, Okay, and with the help of engineering and science, then you will see something more from the machine. So that is very brilliant. Yeah, that design is very brilliant. Okay, if you want to look at the real thing, you can go to New Zealand. Okay, yeah. How great is that? Right. So economics can be very creative sometimes. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So there you go. Well, same concept, but they are using a machine to represent the idea. Okay. They call that demoniac. Okay. Demoniac. Yeah. But it's just the same as the one that we see here. Okay, all right, but when you were watching the video, they apply more concepts in this model, like different government policies. Okay, there will be different interest rates that you can see and examine. Yeah, it's just like a model for the real economy. So yeah, very scientific. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. All right. So that is the first part of Unit 1, and yeah, finally, and then yeah, because you see, look, because this is a new curriculum, and for the new curriculum, we put more emphasis on the first unit. So don't be confused when you are learning the first unit. Yeah, because there are so many different concepts from different areas that you will see in Unit 1, and that is completely normal. Okay, all right, yeah. So it's going to be better if you can find connection between those concepts here. Okay, that is more important. Okay, not just learning the concepts, but you should find a way to connect the concepts together. Okay, try to find some meanings from what you have learned in this Unit 1 here. All right. So right. So let's go to the second part. Okay. So the second part here is going to be more vague. Okay. Yeah, because we are going to learn how economists, how should, if you are being an economist, how do you think? Okay. Yeah. So what should be in your mind when you are an economist? Okay, so we are going to study some methodology that, as an economist, that we would use. Okay, all right. So it's going to be more vague. All right, but it's just Unit 1. Okay, after Unit 1, you will see, so many similar things that you have learned from GCSE. Okay, it's just Unit 1 being a bit weird. Okay, all right. Yeah. So yeah. So there you go. All right. So when we want to understand this concept here, the methodology, okay, so there are two kinds of concepts that we will use as an economist. Okay. So you have positive economics and you have normative economics. Okay. And they are not only very useful for economics, they are very useful for understanding human behavior as well. Okay, yeah. So it's something quite useful to understand why people they behave a certain way. Okay, yeah. So let's go straight into the first one here. When we talk about positive economics, okay. So take a look at this. So when we talk about positive economics, okay, we refer the economics to the facts. Okay, something like what is actually happening, or what has happened, or what will happen. Okay, we are dealing with facts here in positive economics. Okay, but the question is, how do we find out the facts? Any ideas? So yeah, when we talk about positive economics, yeah, from history, okay, from history, yeah, but from history. So now if you want to know, okay, something happened in the past, then you can look at the history, okay. But you don't just look at the history, okay. You are going to do something else, right? Or when you are looking at something that will happen or actually happening, what are you going to do to find out the facts? Like, what would be the actions besides, looking at the past data? What else would you do? Because recently we always heard this common term that we have in the society. People, they always talk about fact check. So how do you get the facts checked? Any ideas? So if you are an economist, okay, and you want to prove, okay, this is what will happen, or you want to prove this is actually happening, how are you going to prove it? How are you going to tell what you're saying is true, or what the others, when what they have said is wrong? How do you do it? Right? Yeah. So you see here, just like from the history, but more specifically, we are going to collect data, and then we are going to do analysis. Okay? Yeah. And that's why we would say, look, in general, we are going to use something like a social scientific method to prove that someone is right, to prove that someone is wrong. Okay? So that's a positive economics. Okay? So when someone, they say something, okay, and that statement is proved, is being proved, okay, that is right or that is wrong, then we will say that is a positive statement. Okay? If the fact is being checked, that's a positive statement. Okay? So this is what positive economics is all about. Okay? All right? So, when you are trying to focus on positive economics, you want to do a lot of investigations. Okay? And the investigation that will be involved will be just like what you will do in science. All right? So, in science, you have scientific methods, but, in economics, they are very similar. Okay? They are very similar. Okay? So, so that's positive economics. Okay? So that's one of them. And look at this. Yeah, you see here? So these are the things that we are going to, use to prove ourselves when we are trying to, explain economics in a positive manner. Okay, we are going to use logic, we are going to use hypothesis, we're going to use some models, maybe some equations, and then maybe some theories. Okay, we use all of them to explain economics. Okay, so there are a lot of scientific experiments or investigations behind those logic models and theories. Okay, what you have learned, something very simple like here, okay, a demand curve, that is a positive economics. That is something some people, some economists, they did a lot of research, they did a lot of experiments, and at the end they came up with this theory here. Okay, and that's why when they are explaining this theory, they use a model or they use a diagram, and this is the diagram. Okay, and if you are using not just model, if you're trying to use like equations, they do have equations. Okay, just very normal linear function that we use in mathematics. Okay, that can apply into this curve as well. Okay, all right. So you see here, look, when we talk about positive economics, there should be something to support, okay, what we are going to say. All right, so that's a positive economics, and here we are going to do some more investigation on this positive economics. Okay, so now you know the basics of this positive economics. Okay, it's all about using scientific method or social scientific method. All right, to come up with a statement, to come up with some theory. Okay, all right, some models. Okay, right. So here, look at this. You see two cars here, right? Okay, so you see here, this is a model, obviously, and the reality, when you're talking about the same car, is going to look like this. So why do we have to use a model to study something? Can someone, give me some ideas? So, here's the reality. Okay, reality is right here. But we are using model. Yeah, we're just using a model here. It's more simplistic. It's easier to analyze, easier to comprehend. Okay, can see correlations. Yeah, that's true. Or what about when we just want to focus on something? A model, we don't need to harm the economy. Not so sure what that means, but no, but I believe the people there. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right. Well, that could be true, but when we are making scientific studies, okay, especially like a social scientific studies, well, that it shouldn't be that dangerous. It shouldn't be that dangerous. Okay, but here, look, very simply, we just want to see things in a simple way. Okay, or we just want to look at something particular. Okay, we just want to look at the color of this car, or we just want to look at the structure of the headlights. Okay, or we just want to look at the pattern of the rims. Okay, yeah. So this is what we are looking for in the model, because it's easy to construct a model. Okay, and when you're talking about in the reality, this one here is so difficult. Okay, to make one. Okay, to understand how it works. But when you are looking at the model, this model car, we all can do it. Yeah, we all can construct this model, and we, when we are playing around with this model, we know how it works. We know how this car works, like in general. Okay, in a very common way. Okay, right? Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Okay, and that's why economics is just like this car here, this real car here. It's very complicated. Okay, it's very complicated. Not everyone can handle this car right here. Okay, not a single person can fully understand how this real car works. Okay, but here when we look at model, it's way easier. We can only focus on some particular aspects from models. Okay, and that's why as an economist we always study a model and try to understand why people behave in a certain way. Okay, so here you see here, yeah, when we're looking at models, okay, only the important aspects in the real world that will be presented in the model, right? When you look at this car here, yeah, I wouldn't say they are the same, but they are quite similar. Okay, yeah, you see here, right? When you compare the both of them, so it helps us to study the real car on the right. Okay, all right, and this is what economists we do, or some other scientists they do. Okay, when they're studying something so complicated. Okay, all right. So there you go. All right, yeah. Okay, all right. So there you go here, and that's why people they study models. Okay, and before we study the models and everything, we have to make some assumptions. Okay, because we know that the reality is too complicated. The economic relationships, they are too complicated. Okay, if this is the economy and these are the relationships of the economics, then you will see, look, things are just being too complex. Okay, and we just want to focus on one or two things. Okay, and how do we do it? We have to make assumptions. Okay, right? And that's why you see so many theories that you have learned, or you'll be about to learn. Sometimes they don't make sense. Okay, they might not make sense to people. But that is because you don't even know they have some assumptions behind. Okay, and if you put those assumptions in those concepts, then they will make sense. Okay, because people, they just want to look at something particular. Okay, they don't want to look at everything. Okay, yeah, because it's impossible to look at in everything using one concept. Okay, so here we have two assumptions that we always make in economic studies. Okay, so first of all, this is what we know already. Okay, ceteris paribus. Okay, it's just a Latin expression. Other things or other factors being equal. So we just look at like two variables. Yeah, if that's the case, then right, something else will happen. Okay, we don't look at other factors. Okay, all right. So ceteris paribus, because that's so important in this very complex environment. Okay, so that's one of them. Okay, and the second thing, well, before that, okay, let's finish this exercise here. Okay, you try to get yourself more familiar with this concept here. Okay, so smokers tend to something if we put ceteris paribus in our mind. So how are you going to fill in the blank? So what is going to be your answer? So smokers tend to be that's all right. Yes, smokers tend to be smoke, right? Because of the addiction that they have, tend to be unhealthy, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because we just look at the direct impact from smoking cigarettes. Okay, we don't care about what the people do besides smoking. Maybe he eats healthy. Maybe he does a lot of exercise. Okay, that might help to improve his situation, his health, right? But we don't look at them. Okay, because you see here, we make assumption, ceteris paribus. Okay, we just look at the most direct impact from smoking cigarettes. Okay, but what about number 2? As the price of apples increase, ceteris paribus. Okay, demand decreases. Okay, less people buy apples. Okay, but Jago here, thank you. Yeah, all right, that's more correct. Okay, all right, true. Right. So that's what we are looking at. The quantity demanded of the apples will be decreased. Okay, because that's a price factor. Yeah, we all know that. Yeah, based on the law of demand. Okay, so if we ignore other factors, then that is true. Okay, right? Ceteris paribus. Okay, but what about this? As income tax rises, something will happen. Ceteris paribus. Okay, people have that's good. Yeah, people have less disposable income. Yeah, but you don't care about other considerations. Yeah, maybe he is having a big pay rise this year. Well, you never know. Okay, yeah, but when we use this assumption ceteris paribus here, we are going to assume people, they will have less disposable income because we just look at the most direct impact from this, increasing income tax. Okay, all right. So number 4, can you just give me one more? Okay, just give me one more example from your own. Do you have it? Anyone? Anyone wants to give another example? Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's one very good example. Yeah, even though it's not related to everything can be economics, I guess. Yeah, but here, yeah, that's true, right? More time you spend playing games, um, you know, your average grade should be decreased. Okay, right? But we don't consider things like efficiency that you have, right? Even some people, they play a lot of games, but they have a very good efficiency when they study, when they revise. So it doesn't really matter. They still get very good grades, right? Yeah. But here, based on ceteris paribus, we assume if you play more, then you get, worse grade. Okay. All right. So ceteris paribus. That's so important when we are trying to study economics, when we are trying to study something so complicated. Okay. So that's one. And before we go, let me just quickly show you the second assumption that we need to have in economics. Okay. And that is being rational. Okay. All right. So you just have to be rational when you are, trying to study economics. Okay. Yeah. So everything that people do, they should be following the self-interest. Okay. They should be following what's best for them. This is what we have to think about, when we are studying economics. Okay, so people, or you can indirectly say, all the people, they will only try to maximize their self-interest. Okay, people are very realistic. If they see something that will give them less interest, then they will not do it. They will only do something that, which will give them the best. Okay, best benefit. That's what this assumption means. Okay, yeah. So the two assumptions that we always make. Okay, otherwise it's so difficult to study our society when you have to study human beings. When people, they are so complicated. Okay, so we just have to make assumptions. Of course, there are so many exceptions. When you think about this, and that's why we have to stick with this assumption here, right? People with compassion, people who have like righteousness, people who are so many other values that humans have. Okay, that will limit your study, and that's why we just have to stick with this assumption here. Okay, people, they are just being rational. Okay, yeah. So if you are having a date with an economist, well, I suggest not. Okay, because you are going to assume they are going to be very realistic. Okay, yeah. So right. So I guess that's all for today. Okay, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we will talk about the other methodology that we are going to use, the normative economics. Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, bye. Bye. All right, bye.